During my visit to Washington, D.C. this past weekend, I was determined to visit the National Museum of African American History and Culture. What I didn't know was that it was virtually impossible to get a ticket into the museum. When I got there at 8, there was virtually no chance of me getting in, but two strangers from Florida gave me their extra ticket. I wasn't sure what to expect, what emotions I would feel, what I would see. I felt so many emotions walking through the museum. And as cheesy as it sounds, it was less like a museum and more like a journey through African American history, through the African American experience. I felt so many emotions walking through the exhibit: fear, grief. I felt the burden, felt the weight of the African American experience. I felt the injustice. I saw the injustice, but I also felt the hope and the strength. If I were to think of three words to describe my experience at the African American Museum, I would use the words illumination, validation, and hope. Illumination because it brought light to the African American experience, the suffering and the strength, the endurance, the tenacity. It brought to light things that as a culture we're ashamed to look at times. Validation because the museum itself said, "We acknowledge your experience as African Americans. Your suffering has not gone unnoticed. It is heard, it is felt. You are not alone." And then the museum gave me hope, hope in seeing all of the people, hearing all of the voices collectively of individuals that were able to accomplish change. And it also pointed to us as the visitors as the catalyst for change in the future as we move forward. I left the museum contemplating, how can I illuminate, how can I validate, how can I instill hope in the people that I work with? How can we all inspire change? How can we all illuminate social issues